Hi and welcome YouTube back again to a Gooners Souls video. This time I've got a match preview, a must-win game, not just for Arsenal Football Club, but for Mikel Arteta. This could be a defining moment for the season and even a top 6 push or potentially a top 4. Stay tuned to find out my thoughts, tactical breakdown and analysis of Burnley and how I think we can get the job done, and also what my 11 will be going into this game. Stay tuned, people. This is going to be a belter. What's going on, YouTube? I hope you're all having a wonderful day and welcome to a tactical analysis and tactical breakdown and some news and updates on Arsenal going into this big clash against Burnley. They are tougher when it comes to Turf Moor. They are a solid, well-structured team, but we're going to have a look into their form and we're going to have a look at how they've been doing and kind of just analysing the way they've been broken down and how they've been also overturned in certain games. So do stay tuned, guys, and do subscribe, like, and share, people, because we've got a lot of content coming up. We've got a lot of things that we can be discussing and talking about. But what I wanted to do was kind of have a look at some of their games going into this. You know, obviously we know the absolute thrashing they gave to Crystal Palace with Goodmanson, Jay Rodriguez and Lowton getting the goals. And obviously, like we know, the traditional setup here is always going to be a 4-4-2, you know, so two solid blocks of fours, low block defending, you know, structured defensively, and just trying to hit teams on the break, you know, your sort of traditional football. That's what Sean Dyche really does really well as well. And that's obviously something which we need to be focusing on, how we're going to break that down. I will be just looking at some notes I did make. Now, in the Palace game, obviously, we've seen Goodmanson's goal. That came from a deep cross from Peters, you know, coming from their left back very early. It was a very deep cross in the region of kind of around here that made that cross. So we know that that's where their threat comes, when they come deeper and the likes of Lowton and Peters make those early crosses. And Crystal Palace defence, to be honest with you, were all over the place. You know, it was a composed finish from Goodmanson. He cut it back out, you know, outside the box, and then around here took a strike, took the keeper out of the equation as well. All he needed to do was pretty much get it on target, and that was going in. Then obviously you've got Jay Rodriguez's goal, which came from a corner kick. A brilliant delivery from McNeil. What they like to do is really crowd the area and crowd the keeper, blocking his vision and not allowing the keeper to be so dominant when it comes to corners. So obviously that allowed Jay Rodriguez to kind of get his goal. And obviously the delivery came in, crowded the keeper, crowded the box, and just needed someone to get a header on it, really. And that was pretty much going in as long as you avoided headering it towards the keeper. Now, the one goal I was really impressed with and I thought was absolutely well taken was Lowton. Now, that was a driving run, you know, towards the box from Lowton. Then he passes it off to, you know, Jay Rodriguez when he's done enough. And then Rodriguez with an absolute beautiful, you know, over-the-top ball, you know, cutting that defence. And Lowton continues his run. That's the crucial thing. And he volleys that one in. Absolute cracker. Brilliant goal. Absolute, you know, you have to applaud it when your right back is doing that. And this is kind of, you know, the best attacking display I think we've seen from them this season. And I don't think we're going to probably see a replication of that. I don't think they're going to be that dominant against Arsenal. Well, we hope not anyway, because with Arsenal, you never know. But you know what the crucial thing was? They were clinical in that game. Like pretty much every attack they had, they made something happen. So that's what we need to be. We need to be alert because this team can just spark alive at any moment. And this is what this game proved. But obviously their form of also going into many games has been a little bit bumpy. Drawing to Fulham now, this is a bit more expected, I guess, because Fulham are fighting for survival. Burnley are one of those teams you kind of want to beat because they're going to be in and around that conversation of relegation or surviving relegation. You know, again, you know, when you look at that Burnley Fulham goal, you know, the Fulham goal just kind of came from nothing really. It was a well driven, you know, ball into the box from a set piece, and all it needed was someone to get a touch in towards the goal, and it was going in. So it's a bit of a, that was just such a strange goal, to be honest, and there's not really a lot we can take from that. But the one thing that I do want to do is, again, Jay Rodriguez with a brilliant run on the byline and an early cross into, Ashley Barnes. We know how clinical this guy can be sometimes. He can be a phenomenal goal scorer. And, it was well taken, composed, taking the keeper out of the equation and just slotting it in. And that's the threat, in these sort of last couple of games that I've been looking at where their threat comes from, it's taking corners, crossing the ball in early, and that's something which even Kieran Tierney has been struggling to stop. Just crosses coming into the ball. That's one thing we need to be stopping, and we can't be having this sort of, lethargic starts that we have, and we need to be understandable. Like, we need to be understanding of the fact that we need to get the crosses abolished. Like, we could not be letting them cross the ball in. Firstly, they've got aerial threats, they can volley the ball, and they're very well composed players. So, we can't be giving them time, we can't be giving them any space, and we need to be stopping those crosses early on. And then obviously the one game which to be fair, I was very impressed with the way Tottenham set up, tactically and structurally. They did some amazing work. And this is what I've always said, if we're going into a game like Burnley, we need to be looking at games like this and taking inspiration from it. It's not a bad thing to do. Even some of the greatest clubs will do this, and greatest managers will do this. And the way that, Tottenham, set up, they had essentially 4 attackers at every phase of attack. Their transition was quick. They were clinical. They took their chances when they came, because you don't get many against Burnley unless you absolutely create them for yourselves. That Gareth Bale goal right at the beginning, just superb. Like, Son was clever with the way he played that ball. He did what no one expected him to do. And instead of going far post, he went to the near post, and all Bale needed to do was just literally touch it away from Pope, and that's what he did. When you look at Harry Kane's goal, an absolute peacher of a ball from Gareth Bale, way over the top, just eliminating the entire team, putting Kane in through and goal. And to be fair to Kane, he had a lot to do still. And, that's what happens when you have a clinical striker. Lucas Moura, again, brilliant ball in from, Reguilon. And that's how that goal happened as well. And then, again, a brilliant ball in from Son. Gareth Bale with a classic finish, just straight in to the top bins. And that is what you need to be seeing, is quick driving and just quick transitions. And that's how you beat this team, because they had 7 shots on target and 7 off target. They were just pelting them. They were just absolutely relentless in the press that they put. Now, Burnley did play Leicester, which helps us now that Leicester's also dropped points. And, this could, like I said, this could be, the beginning of their bottling job. I wouldn't say a bottle job, but where they drop out of the sort of top 4 conversation now. Chowdhury with an absolute poor pass. I don't know what he was thinking on that one. He puts Vidra through in goal, and Vidra, to be honest, well composed, well taken goal. And Didi's ball over the top to Iheanacho, and Iheanacho again with an absolute clinical strike. And this is becoming very common. The clinical teams that take their chances are the ones who are winning. So it's crucial, that we really think about that when we go into a game like this. And it's difficult because it's not easy at Turf Moor. They never give anyone an easy game. They're very sat back, well structured, and the longer you go without a goal, the more they settle in and the more they grow in confidence, should I say. And obviously, just looking at kind of just some, of Mikel Arteta's, press conference on what he needs the squad in the crucial point. First of all, we maintain a togetherness and among the group that everyone feels important and valued, and obviously raises the level individually, because this is going to improve every position. When that happens, we'll have good performances. Now, this is what I've said. He has got the team morale up. It's been one of the best team morales we've had in a while. That dressing room seemed to want to fight for Mikel, and that is really crucial. on keeping the energy high, trying to keep everyone engaged, feeling important, and they are going to be key for success in the last few months. The contribution you can have, whether you play a minute, whether you play on the bench, or whether you start the game, equally important, because the last few months when fatigue has come in, substitutions are key and rotation is key. When you have the opportunity, you cannot demand I need 4 or 5 games now to perform. You need to immediately, and you have to. I agree and disagree with this. I do think you need to get a flow of games together before you can really make a big impact. So I do get what you're saying. At this stage of the season, we do need just impact subs to come on and just do their job. But I do think, obviously, when you don't play a lot of games, it's difficult. And I can understand where Arteta's coming from, but I do disagree with the last thing where he said you're needing 4 or 5 games. I do think that's a little bit harsh, because you do need to have a flow of games before you really get into your stride and you really do, focus on what's needed. On facing Burnley now. So now we're getting to the game. It's a really tough match. I think it's remarkable what the club, Sean, and the coaching staff have done in recent years with the resources they have. They have a style of play that's implemented, how well they execute and efficient they are. It is always really tough to play against them. At home, it's a tricky game because we played with 10 men and we ended up losing on a set piece, which is big part of the game. And so hopefully we can, yeah. And I remember that, it was a set piece taken and we lost. We simply lost because, we just didn't take our chances again. All season we've been lethargic. We've not been creative enough on whether we can still get, aim is to go and beat Burnley. We have been chasing a top 4 place for a while, but it is not in our hands. The only thing we can control is our own results and performances. This is it, really. This is what I've said. It's not about looking at what people do. We can just hope that they lose and drop points, like Leicester have done, like Liverpool have done, like Aston Villa did as well. Teams around us are losing points. So all we need to do is not be Arsenal and actually capitalize on those opportunities. And who knows, the season hasn't ended yet. It's not over yet. And we've got to have that hope that we can do something. There's still so many points to grab. There's so many big games where if we beat them, the season will look a lot different. So, we do have to bear with it, and we've got to take it a game at a time. On the team news, obviously, Emil Smith-Rowe is the key one. Had a scan yesterday. It doesn't look like a significant injury, but it was in discomfort for the rest. Hopefully, everyone should be okay. Yeah, I don't think he's playing. That looks pretty obvious. And obviously now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of taking what I've told you today, where we need to be able to stop, those early crosses coming in, and none of this, sort of allowing the cross to come in. We need to be proactive in our defending. We need to not be reactive, and we need to be on the front foot. We need aggressive defending. And what I mean by that doesn't mean, go and do professional fouls and all of this. It simply means just going for the ball and being a little bit aggressive and asking a lot of questions of the player on the ball. This game will be won on the... it's funny, right? Because the game is played on the ball, but this game will be won off the ball, to be honest. It's how we make our runs and how we create chances and how we create room for the person on the ball is going to determine how we win this game, or if we win this game, should I say. Now, this is obviously a difficult one. What is our lineup going to be? Because there's always that sort of, do we rest a lot of players or do we go in full pelt? Because a lot of those players were rested. So it's always a difficult one. It's always going to be a question, because obviously we have got Olympiacos coming up as well. So that's obviously something to consider. Do we risk players in a game like this? It's difficult because I do think that the lineup against Leicester could probably get this job done as well. But I do see a few, regulars coming into this game, and I think because Burnley are a tough team to break down, you are going to see certain players come in that you probably didn't want to have in. But obviously, some of the ones that are obvious, I think Leno in goal is very obvious, and I think Haley's our only left back, really. I think he'll be in there. And I want to see Cedric continue. And I know people may say give him a rest and let Hector Bellerin play. Now, the centre-back partnership, this is difficult because I've always said their crossing and their ability in the box is great. They're physical. So, for me, this is the partnership I would personally go for. Oh, not Gabriel Jesus. Sorry, guys. What is going on? Sorry for that, guys. I don't know what went on there. How come he's not coming up? Man. I'll have to go look for him now. There he is. I don't know why he wasn't coming up. It was a bit of a strange one. But anyways, I'd go with Gabriel and David Luiz. Reason being, I just think when it comes to aerial threats and when it comes to just being commanding in the box, I think they are probably our best two to do that. They've got a good, they've got very good conversation between each other. They do, play well together. So I feel like when we've got that aerial threat, and Gabriel's one of those who does. He presses very well, and his defensive press is really good. He's not a player that I see a lot of backing off. He will get the ball off you even on the halfway line, which is kind of what we need in this game. We need that sort of aggressive defending, is what I always refer it to, because we can't be letting them play their game essentially, and we need to make them uncomfortable. And I think this is the two to do it. When we look at how Ndidi broke their defense down, was an over the top ball, that cut them open, and Luiz has that in him. So that's probably what we need to be looking to do, because they can leave gaps if you find them. Centre back, the CDMs. This is where it's really difficult, because I want to bring Partey in, and I do think it's going to be him coming in. And I'm not really a fan of rest players and no, don't play them and all of this sort of stuff. And I don't know how fit Partey is. We've not really heard too much about it, but I think he needs to come in, and I think we need to be winning these games, taking it a game by game. And obviously next to him, Mr. Bionic Man himself, for me, the player of the month, Granit Xhaka. I think when he plays with Partey, him and Partey do seem to be our best pairing, in my personal opinion. In terms of just getting an all-round, well-balanced midfield, they seem to be the best two. So that's what I would personally go for when it comes to it. Now, Cameron, I think this kind of just speaks for itself, really. It's going to be Martin Odegaard. Obviously, we know Smith Rowe is out. We know he's not really fit enough to play, and I think Odegaard is going to be the man that comes into this. And it's a strange one, because obviously I would have had ESR probably playing this game, but due to the fact that he did start against Leicester, I wouldn't have brought him in. I probably would have. It's always in hindsight. Obviously, it's brilliant, but that's probably the midfield three that I would go for, because I think Odegaard brings a lot of control, and when it comes to our low block, I think his passing ability and range really do help break a lot of teams down. And I think this is going to be the game where he announces himself, if he hasn't already, to people. So this is going to be really big for him. And I think this is the kind of games where we'll see that sort of cutting edge quality that Martin can bring to this team. Now, on the right-hand side, now this is difficult, because obviously you've got Bukayo Saka, you've got Nicolas Pepe. Do we bring Martinelli into this position? Do we bring Willian onto the right? Now, it's obviously there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of back and forth in my head as well. What do we do? Because they did have a week off, and to be fair, they've got from Saturday to Thursday to rest. So they have a significant rest. It's not like, previously where they have to play a game in the next 3 or 4 days, in the next sort of 2 or 3 days, should I say. And this is what I want to see. I want to see Bukayo Saka come back in, and I think he's going to have enough time to rest. I want Pepe, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, but I want, and I'll explain why. The why has Aubameyang not got a picture? Oh well. Anyways, that's what I would want to see personally. When people ask me whether what my lineup would be or what my ideal lineup would be, because simply I think Aubameyang is going to offer a lot more than Lacazette in a game like this, and I think when you've got these low block, we need to be clinical. And unfortunately, I just don't think Lacazette's got bags of goals in him anymore. And I think with Aubameyang, you can still find him, and he will pretty much get a goal for you. And these are the kind of games where Aubameyang will thrive. And I think with Saka and Pepe, especially alongside him, I get where people are coming from with the imbalance where Aubameyang and Pepe seem to take a lot of the similar positions in games. But I feel when you've got this structure around them, that's not going to be too big of an issue. But that'd be my 11 going into Burnley, and I feel like this is the team that will probably get the job. Well, definitely get the job done, and I am very confident that we'll get the 3 points. And you know what? It could be a top 6 charge. Could we even see a top 4? Only time will tell. I hope you guys did enjoy. Go follow my Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter at Leicester Bay Footy. Gooners Souls on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment below what kind of video ideas you want me to do. Is there any particular videos you'd like to see? Because I'm up to doing a lot of videos, especially now. So, leave that up in the comment section below. People like, share, subscribe. This is